The book of nature it fine-tunes the senses, not so much of the body, but of the soul. So as we spend time in nature, as we study the great lesson book, we begin to sense and understand essential truths that you can't just see from sitting in a classroom. And there are a lot of bugs out here today. There are bugs everywhere. The sprinklers behind me, you can see the water, you can hear the water, you can see the bugs, you can hear the bugs, all the little beautiful insects. But it's not what the Bible is speaking about when it says, day unto day uttereth speech. There's a message there for people that have ears to hear. In 2 Corinthians 5:7, it says, we walk by faith and not by sight. What you see as you walk by faith is not with the eyes, it's the spiritual eyesight. So we want to develop 20/20 spiritual eyesight. Then we see things we never knew existed and we did not see it before. And that is a great blessing. So as we tour the garden, as we spend time in nature, may God help us to have our eyes opened and our ears open to hear things and see things that'll bring us an understanding and a peace that really passes understanding. And a good place to start with that is at the blueberry bushes. So let's go over to my blueberry bushes. This is a blueberry. You can tell when it's ripe because it turns blue. Don't pick it when it's red, it's not right. A blueberry turns blue. The same with people. People, it takes some time for people to mature. And often a child will see a flower and try to force it open, and all it does is really kill it. But Solomon in the Bible says God makes all things beautiful in His time. You see that illustration out in the classroom of nature, in the book of nature. You see first it's green, and then it gets a little bigger, and it's red, then it turns blue. And you can't expedite the process. No matter what you do, it takes time. So that's a quality of patience you learn out in the school of nature. And by the way, blueberries, by implication, it tells you in order for you to get that, something has to happen. I call it the 4 S's. You got to have soil, which without dirt, something won't grow. Certain ingredients, that's the food of the plant. You got to have soil, you got to have sunshine, and we got a nice bright sunny day. You can tell the bugs are out in force. You got to have sunshine, you got to have the soil, and you got to have some showers. Without rain, things won't grow. And so the showers, the soil, the sunshine, and the whole process starts by taking the seed and putting it into the ground. So I call it the 4 S's. And if you want a blueberry, you got to have the 4 essentials, which are the 4 S's: the soil, the sunshine, the seed, and the showers, the rain. And people are the same. People, in order to really grow, to ripen, to prosper, they have to have the 4 P's. The 4 P's, you got to have a purpose and a place. That's God's plan. And the result is peace, a peace that passes understanding. And the Bible is full of these directions in order to have peace. In John chapter 14, verse 27, my peace I give unto you, not as the world gives it, give I unto you. In other words, the world didn't give you peace, and the world can't take this kind of peace away from you. And if you really want to understand what peace is, you got to let the Prince of Peace, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, and that last one, the Prince of Peace. You've got to let the Prince of Peace teach you in his book of nature these lessons that help a man to take root, to grow in grace, and to finally mature into a kind of person that you want to be around, right? And it takes patience, it takes time. And if you want to see that, the 4 P's in action, the purpose and the place, well, it's good to go over to the pear tree, because the lessons, when you get them right out of nature, they have an immediacy. They speak to the heart like a book never can. You have theories in the classroom, but really the practical instruction received in the book of nature in my garden, this is a real educational process. This is the institution of higher learning. So we go over to the pear tree to understand more about place, purpose, and the plan. It's that way, let's go. Now this is this pear tree, and you may notice it's full of pears. But a few years ago, before the pear tree, we had a little, just from the nursery, a little plant. And we took the plant and we decided to plant the plant. So we needed a place, and of course, place implies purpose. You put a pear tree in because you have a purpose. So place implies purpose. And of course, the purpose is to get pears, to bear much fruit. And so the same is true in the life of a man. God has a place for him, and that place implies purpose. And the purpose is to bear fruit. It's a different kind of fruit. This is going to expire. You know, we're going to eat it. It's not going to last long. But the fruit that people bear, you know, those that are blessed by your presence, that kind of purpose, it has eternal results. So place, purpose, it's God's plan. And the plan produces a peace that passes understanding. And if you're not in the right place, if you're not working under God's plan, if you have no purpose, I mean, a purpose higher than just making a few dollars and driving a nice car and living in a nice home. You know, it's not a purpose higher than that. If you don't have a purpose, then, you know, it's almost impossible to have peace. And you say, well, how do you find your purpose? Well, there's a whole lot of lessons in the garden, in the book of nature, to explain God's plan, His purpose, our place, and the sure result, His peace. So we'll be looking at a number of lessons in the garden, you know, dozens, hundreds, as the weeks and the months go by. And as we study in the book of nature, you learn lessons that you can't learn anywhere else. This is just across the road from our garden. In the morning, you know, my wife and I like to get up early in the morning, just after daylight. We take a walk, head down the little big hill here, come back, and on the way back, we live just around the corner. I picked some of these wild blackberries and we have them for breakfast. It's they're on the road. You know, we didn't do anything. We didn't plant them. We didn't water them. We didn't feed them. We just harvest them and we eat them. But it's an interesting lesson. Across the street, you've got the garden. We're working hard too. You know, it's the growing and the weeding and all the things that are entailed in growing food. It's hard work in the garden. Here, with these blackberries, you know, there's a nice little blackberry there. We didn't do anything. We just come back from the walk, pick a few, have them for breakfast. That's an illustration. First, let me say, it's not just in the garden. It's in all of nature. You see lessons. The lessons down here point to a kingdom up there. And the way to enter that kingdom up there is by grace. And that blackberry, that's a symbol of grace. We did nothing to prepare the soil. We did not provide the rain. We did not weed the bush. We didn't do anything. Except I come by and I pick it and I eat it and it's free. I don't deserve it. I didn't do anything to get it, but it's just free. Planted by God, overseen by God, brought to harvest by God, but I get the fruit. That's grace. And this is how we're saved. Ephesians 2:8, you're saved by grace. And that's not something you work to get. That's the free gift of God. So I invite you, as we explore the God of nature in the book of nature, to learn more about the goodness of God. It'll be an educational experience, and I'm learning every day. You know, many of the things I see, a lot of the things I see in nature, it's just a new lesson unfolding. So I invite you to go with me, and let's be students in the book of nature and see what we can find.